So do you remember when you met your husband?
Yeah, fourth grade, when he came from Ash Valley to
Yeah.
the big city of
That's
Garfield. It was a
interesting.
big school.
It's interesting.
So we went to school together
Yeah.
until, well, our freshman year, ready to go to college, I went to Bethany and he went to Fort Hays. And we'd had a tiff and we broke up.
Right.
And, well, maybe not then yet, but it was about a year and a half that we didn't see each other. And then his sister got married. Probably would have been between our sophomore and junior year in college. And he called me.
Yeah.
And then we got together.
The rest is history.
We got married between our junior and senior year. And I needed to finish some classes at Bethany. So we lived in Lynchburg the first semester of the junior year. And then we moved to Hayes so he could go back to school. He hadn't been doing real good in school, but while we were living in Lynchburg, he worked at a service station. And back then they washed windows and they filled tires and pumped gas. And he decided he really didn't want to do that the rest of his life, so he wanted to go back to school. So we moved to Fort Hays. And he finished that and then went on for his master's. And I took my last semester at Hayes, graduated from Bethany, but then I taught for 2 years in a rural school between Hayes and Plainville called Turkville. Had three grades. First year was 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. The second year was 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades. So it was an interesting school district. I was naive enough to think that every parent would want their children to be able to read and to add and subtract and all of that. And, well, it was an unusual area because there were the very wealthy people who owned the oil wells. In our school playground, there was an oil well that had 2 heads. So there were those that worked the oil wells, and there were the people that owned the oil wells, and very few of them had a really good education. So education wasn't that important. So I remember the first 6 weeks, and I gave Darlene a D, and I was back in our teacher's office, which was pretty small, and Darlene's mother came in, and she was pretty upset that her daughter had gotten a D. And of course, I was trying to explain, da-da-da-da. She cussed me out like I hadn't heard Dennis cuss when he was really mad.
Oh, wow.
So I was pretty shook up. That was kind of an interesting experience.
Yeah. Huh.
But there were some good memories.
Yeah.
There were 3 other teachers. There was the other 2 teachers, one the lower grade, one higher grade, and then we had a music teacher. And we would always do like the Nutcracker at Christmas, and that was always quite a production.
Yeah.
I saw the boy that did the Russian dance when I worked at Sunflower. He was selling Sunflower equipment, and he recognized me. I recognized him.
Right?
Yes.
Oh,
So it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah. What about your folks? What memories do you have of them?
Well, life was hard. The money was not there.
Right.
Mother was a nurse. She worked at Dr. Shepard's and Dr. Coughlin's office. Then later worked at the state hospital. Dad farmed. I remember one early morning, I don't remember what year it was, Con probably does. Dad was moving irrigation pipe, and the pipe hit the high line. And it was probably 6 in the morning. The man that delivered gas for the motors came in and woke me up and said, "Your dad's been electrocuted." And I remember that. Of course, Mother was at work, so I guess that guy called the ambulance or whatever, because he had several burns and he was in the hospital for quite a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Where his belt buckle was, had a big burn, and the bottom of his feet,
Wow.
big burns. And lucky it wasn't on the other side of the pole,
Really?
or he would have been gone. Yeah.
It was higher voltage over there. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that was. I don't remember what year it was.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I was in junior high. I don't remember.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
What about Mom?
Well, she worked hard. She'd come home and help with the chores and
Yeah.
just, my job when I got high school was be sure the dusting was done. And of course, back then the house was pretty open and it dusted
Always
up real
dusty.
good.
Yeah, always a,
And
dusty.
have the supper meal
Yeah.
ready. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, she worked hard.
Right.
Well, they both did,
Yeah,
but
they did. Yeah. Do you know anything about the heritage of your dad? Where he came from, where his family came from, when they
his father
Moved
came
here.
from Sweden.
did he? Okay.
And the story is that they landed in Philadelphia on the 4th of July. And of course, the fireworks and all of that in the 1870s, I think. But he said, if this is Philadelphia, what must Lynchburg be?
Yeah.
That's the story, whether that's true or not.
Yeah.
But they came west to Lynchburg. That's where my dad was born.
Right.
In fact, maybe all 4 kids were born in Lynchburg.
Right.
Then they moved to Garfield.
Yeah. What was his name?
Peterson,
No,
Carl
no.
Peterson.
No, his father's name.
Hans.
Hans Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
And his mother's name? Do you remember?
Whose
Carl, your husband's
dad's
your
brother's
dad.
name
I'm
was
sorry, your dad's brothers.
was
Your dad's-
Henry. Henry was the brother, and then Nellie and Lena were
Okay,
the
who
sisters.
was your dad's mother? What was her name?
Amanda.
Amanda. So it was Hans and Amanda.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
Now was she from Peterson, from Sweden also?
No, she was
A local
born here.
from Lynchburg?
Born in Lynchburg, probably.
I got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
And
They
so
were.
did they come out to Garfield, or did they stay in Lynchburg?
No, they lived
They
in
moved to
Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah.
And was he a farmer?
No, I think he worked on the railroad.
Oh,
I'm not positive. I know Uncle Hank worked on the railroad.
right,
I don't know for sure,
right,
but I think it was railroad.
right.
Maybe Con knows.
I will
His
ask.
memory's better than mine.
Yeah, I will ask. So,
Yeah.
any other fond memories? Do you have pets that you remember?
Pets?
Yeah,
Oh, we always had a dog.
yeah.
Remember we had a Spitz, and it didn't like Dennis. And we would sit on the back steps, and it would get under the under the steps and kind of nip at.
I thought maybe it sat between you. Just let you sit
No,
close.
no,
Yeah.
no,
He didn't like Dennis, huh?
no, he didn't. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Well, I think maybe Dennis had a way of teasing the dog,
I see.
you know.
Yeah,
So I think probably it was deserved.
right.
But
Yeah. All right, good. All right, well, let's call that for now. We got 20 minutes.